Hi everyone, it's live at 5, Mondays on Facebook with Cheryl Millett. Happy New Year! So this is the first live at 5 this year, starting 2019. Looking forward to all the things that are going to come about this year of all kinds of nature, I guess, and some will see it as, maybe good, maybe bad, but 2019 is where, let's say it today, is where you can decide what you want to do. What are you looking to bring into your life? And aren't we kind of in control of what we can kind of put into place? So I look forward to your accountability, things that you're doing with maybe other people, all that kind of stuff. Well, today I was going to bring up something. It's quite detailed, but it might be that a lot of people out there are not getting certain information. And in some ways that is so true, where there's so much information. It's being put here, put there. There's just no way that any one of us can keep our finger on all of the information, or even a lot of information, when considering we are working. We have our job, we have maybe family to take care of, ourselves to take care of, and those are the kind of things that do take up time. So I wanted to talk about Italy. And Italy had a situation recently where, and I'll be able to actually bring up the information here too as well, where they actually had some vaccines. And now we're going back onto the vaccine, but some of this stuff might be informative enough that more people might have an idea of what is or is not going on. In Italy, what they've done is recently they've sacked the entire vaccine advisory board. The reason being, just the short of it here, that there are these vaccines that were for children, and that they feel that they were, paid out. But this vaccine, which is supposed to have tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, and so forth, they actually had this vaccine tested. And here's the words. They found none of that which I just mentioned. So none of that, where there was the hepatitis and there's that, and they found none of those antigens in the vaccine. And meaning that there was absolutely nothing that was going to be achieved in that area for taking the vaccines. And so what does the vaccine do? What is the vaccine going to do? Much of what they found in there, they couldn't even identify with. And that's crazy. So here's a comment here. You can't have what is on the label get in the way of a social engineering vaccine that specifically reduces intelligence and makes a drone, and often induces autism as a side effect. So it is best to leave it out. Now, isn't that interesting? Now, that's a very loaded paragraph, and I'm going to put a link and some information down below. But the idea is that if this is true, is there really vaccines, or what we call it, being disguised as vaccines, but they're not vaccines? So what would be the agenda here? I don't know. I think this is a big topic, of course, is a huge topic. And maybe the parents who have had children that claim that there's been issues, that the children have never been the same afterwards, and or even adults who say they've never been the same afterwards, maybe there's something to some of these vaccines. Maybe they're not all what we think they're made out to be. What if we now started having a third-party testing done for the vaccines, outside of that, and see what happens? Now, I have a lot of questions there, of course. The other thing to talk about is safety. Now, if these vaccines don't have what they have in it, then that wouldn't be a safe thing to give them, would it be? Why they did, I do not know. But safety keeps coming up as well, just generally speaking about safety and safety first. Not so much getting into fear-based, but just the simple thing, and I brought this up before, which is actually just simply washing our hands, which is very valuable. That's why they have these safety things in place. I think the washing of the hands is probably the most important thing, but you can see now that's coming out, and I don't know if it's going to be different, Shadow, if it's going to be in other provinces or in other countries, if that's where you live, if you're not here in Ontario. But recently, what I was getting from is actually, this is for Columbus, but where if you don't stop for the school buses, let's see, passing stopped school buses in Canadian province, so this is out of a Columbus News, will now cost you your license. There's also, what was I going to do here, talk about the driving. So there's been a number of accidents, accidents being accidental. You don't really want them to happen. Nobody wants an accident to happen, but they're happening. So Ontario's got a new distracted driving law. This is on top of the school bus scenario, which is where they're going to be huge fines. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to, it's a JPEG here, I'm going to put it down below. But let's just say if you are in one of these, distracted by one of these things, you are first offense if you're caught, and let's say the cell phone might be the biggest thing here, you get 3-day suspension and $1,000 fine. Now $1,000 buys a lot of groceries, and I don't wish that on anybody to do that. So I'm hoping that everybody here is paying attention to some of these laws, because most likely they're going to be looking out for these things now that it's in place. But 3-day suspension, what if you drive to work? What if you need your car to drive to work? Second offense is 7-day suspension and $2,000 fine. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it at all. 3 or more offenses, and then you get 30-day suspension and $3,000 fine and 6 demerit points. Now let's think about this. We can apply safety first, because who wants to have to deal with an accident? You know, the car, and then think about how this plays into the insurance company. Your insurance is going to go up. But still, it's a lot of money, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and who knows where they're going to go after that. But this is a lot of things they're talking about. They're even talking about putting on makeup, just working on the GPS, reading books or documents. Like, everybody's in a rush these days, but I think it's going to be important here. I think in some ways this is good. In some ways, is that much money needing to be put into place? But let's just think about, when we get into a car, do we have everything? Do we have everything? We're just going to have to take that space. So this is one of the things I wanted to say. When we're driving, this is a good opportunity just to chill, relax, put on the music that's actually more calming, perhaps. Focus on the road, just kind of clear your head. Don't think of anything but driving, what the other drivers are doing, as well as yourself. So I think it might be a really good opportunity on top of that, just to not only focus on driving, but actually just chill, just to take the time to clear your head, maybe put on some music that you like. I know I listen to classical all the time. It's not part of it that I have this road rage or anything. I always liked classical since I was 12 years old. But classical is very calming. And if it drives you crazy, then obviously don't put it on. But that's, that rolled out, these new driving laws rolled out January the 1st. So there may be, with the school bus thing and this and other things, trying to make the roads more safe. but also it would be collecting your hard-earned money and something that you can survive, pay bills, pay mortgages, pay rents off of. And I don't want that for anyone, nor do I want, insurance and stuff like that. So just wanted to talk about that. And safety, again, comes in many ways. So washing the hands is very, very important, very important. And I'll bring some examples in here. I know when I go grocery shopping, and then when I come back and I know I've been touching carts and stuff like that, it doesn't bother me. I'm doing like that. But to avoid touching the face, and you're obviously touching other things, but to wash my hands thereafter. And anytime, I guess when I'm blowing my nose or something like that, I'll also, rinse my hands off as well. But just think about where your hands have been, and just wash your hands. Very simple. Soap and water. You don't need that heavy duty sterilizing stuff, because there's issues with that stuff. First of all, it's toxic and chemical. And the other thing is, are we using it properly? Because that quite often is not the case. And they've shown that yes, the chemicals, and also it's not put on, not getting there. Whereas if you wash your hands, the time to wash your hands properly is actually, especially before food preparation too, is 20 seconds. When my first daughter was born and she was 7 weeks premature, and I have to go into the INCU all the time, intensive care, washing our hands was very, very important. And they actually had a diagram up there to show it. And it was, getting around the thumbs, getting under the nails. Those were the other, that was the proper way of washing your hands. We don't need to be fanatical with all this stuff. It's just, we just have to kind of do it, create a habit of doing it, and understand that that is for a better safety, because a lot of the foods, which are whole foods or meats or things like that, that we're touching to prepare, to cut up, to slice up, may have the germs and bacteria on it. Now, when we're cooking, that kind of clears it off there, but when we're touching the meat, and then we're touching different things thereafter, we're spreading it in that aspect, and therefore it's just there. So at this time of the year, I've seen a lot of people are having sinus infections, perhaps the flu, colds and stuff like that. And germs are only part of it. The other part of it is being, not having the balance to your lifestyle. At this point, there's, especially during the holidays, there's a lot of busyness. There's a lot of, I'll call it the stress of that, but there's a lot of busyness. And there's even for those people who have, the holidays, but they don't have, they don't have the same family and social. So it can be very stressful for them not having that. People I've heard recently, even a friend of mine, Elizabeth and her friend who was there, where they opened their homes on Christmas Day to those people that actually don't have anyone. I'm not sure exactly what anyone or not having anybody means. It could be not family. They could be from a different country. They could be in a completely different city, and for the reasons work or stuff like that. And so when we think of getting sick, we also have to look into, do we have the balance for a day? Do we have our balance for the day? And that's really all I really wanted to talk about today. So yes, Happy New Year. I hope everybody's got their New Year's resolutions in order. And let's make one of those New Year's resolutions not to be distracted in our car. We're going to play it safe and have those distractions, whatever it be, from, I think they talked about eating as well, makeup, phones, have all of them put away and just focus on driving, and use that as some downtime as well. Safety from washing hands, and ask questions, lots of questions. I'll always be saying that. Ask lots of questions of how we can be more safe, how we can more safe? Yeah, vaccines in some ways. We learn this information, and really, I would have never thought that vaccines were actually being created. If it's actually true out of Italy, cannot be. I see it on the news, we see it on there, I'll post it below, where there are actually none of what's supposed to be in the vaccines are not even in the vaccine. So most of the people that, and myself included, that maybe can get our head around that there is warrant to strengthening our immune system through vaccines. There's other ways to strengthen our immune system. But needless to say, I mean, there's a whole group of people out there that's strongly pro-vaccine for the simple reason that the logical sense is build your immune system ahead of time so you don't get the chicken pox, so you don't get that stuff. And here, those people, this is a deception. This is not even a good thing from the pro standpoint, because it's not even a vaccine in its true nature. It's not. And what is it when, as you will read, they don't even know, they can't even identify some of those things in there from what the lab can test as being a known substance. So really, what's going on, people? Do we know? Let's question and continue to question and make sure that we have, we have our wits about us. And again, it's all about safety. You're putting something into your arm that is actually going directly into your bloodstream. So it's completely bypassing the safety mechanisms in our own body, our digestive system, our lungs, which we would breathe in. It's like a filter as well. So when you're getting things entered into your body that doesn't have a proper filter directly into your blood, we should ask questions. And it seems like in Italy, that's what they did. So Terry says here, this does not surprise me at all with Big Pharma. And yeah, well, hello everyone, welcome. So there's going to be much more to cover in just a short time that I even come on here. But the idea is, again, to question and just to embrace the simple things, the practical things, the common sense things that comes to you and to I when we're looking into things. And I'll continue to keep exploring information and bring it here to Live at 5 for sure. And I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. There's absolutely a lot of changes going on. Even the government is standing back, not going to pay for prescriptions, free prescriptions for, I think, kids under 24. They will, but only if the people do not have an insurance plan. So if you have your own insurance plan, then for that particular thing that they put in place, and that's going to save lots of dollars, millions of dollars. But here's the thing. Why do we need all these prescription meds at the end of the day? Why are these prescription meds, why are there so many of them? Why don't we ask those questions? I mean, all of the research is primarily being done on men, number one. So I had a discussion with some people before where they're realizing none of the prescriptions are actually being tested on females. And we have a different, I don't want to say completely different, I don't know, I mean, science is science and what we already know, but we have different hormones and whatever else is different. Right? So we have a cycle 28 days. Apparently men have a cycle 1 day. And this is why the side effects for women supposedly are different and more and so forth. So maybe that's a potential thing to think about for ladies anyway with prescription drugs. And my understanding too is much of these testings are done in healthy people, and they're actually done in the 40s or before 50s. So you have all these medications which specialists will say, we don't know if this is helping to live any longer. I mean, this is the research. So when people have come off their medications, this I can say with experience and with people telling me this, is that they feel better, right? They feel better. This also happens with people who have been taking, I've never been the person to take, the amount of supplements that some people are taking today, but I've surely been up there with 10 supplements and that for sure, because you start going down that path of going, well, I need this for this, and I need this for that. And some people, over the years, even clients of mine, have recognized that what was making them sick was actually all the different supplements that they were taking. Because quite frankly, what I found out earlier on is much of these supplements were actually made by companies that were actually pharmaceutical companies. So the vitamins and supplements that were for the primarily on the store shelf and in, the practitioner, supplements or whatever, were all being produced by the raw material that was coming from the pharmaceutical companies. Now, they're the ones that explore and discover some of these vitamins, the vitamin A being one of the first ones. But they made it into a synthetic vitamin A. So we've, over the years, we found out that, yes, it could be synthetic. You could have synthetic vitamin E, you could have synthetic this, synthetic that. So if you're putting synthetics into your body, and that could play being very hard on our system. So just to take note on that, safety when it comes to certain supplements is ask the question, do I need to be taking all of these? And quite frankly, when I was studying herbs, there was definitely a play of taking the herbs for so long and then stopping them for a certain amount of weeks as well, not to continue taking them. That was very important. Hello, everyone. And so when you think about supplements the way we're taking them today, more and more people are getting away from taking a whole lot of supplements, but I bet there's still a lot of people that are taking a lot of supplements. And we have to think about how that's making us feel over time. It may not be, might not be doing what it's needing to do anymore, and it might be clogging the system up. So it's good to know, well, we're not going to die if we just dropped all the supplements. So if you're taking 10 supplements, 15 supplements, 20 supplements even, we're not going to die if we just stop all our supplements for 10 days just to see how you feel. That is a possibility. I've had people do that. I've mentioned to doing that. I've heard people doing that. That's kind of an interesting thing to do. For all those people that are taking a lot of supplements, just stop it for 10 days and see how you feel. See if you're feeling a certain way, if you feel better. Again, it's just look at it as a break, right? Even just a break that your body, you're putting all those supplements. Because quite frankly, in order to get a tablet, right, to look like a tablet, they have to introduce some chemicals to make it look like a hard tablet, which is why many of us will have seen a transition from the tablets and even maybe powders or maybe even emulsions to liquid, right? So even that makes sense to you as well. But here we go. We can go on many different topics. I do want to wish everybody a Happy New Year again. Best of health for this coming 2019. And I'm surely on a mission of making some points here about health where we can change the lovely stats that all of these, I'll call not-for-profit, disease stopping institutions, businesses, whatever you want to call them, be it cancer, diabetes, where they have zero confidence in us as humans. Maybe let's think of the Western diet humans, but humans all over the planet, because you look at the atlas for the International Diabetes Federation, and it's from all over the world where diabetes is going up. So let's, I'm here to continue to share information so that we can actually see. I want a different stat out there. I want to see the numbers come down. I think we can do it. That's what I'm imagining where we're not looking at these 20, 30%, 100% increases in some of these diseases. I've stopped giving my money to not-for-profit and these institutions, having been within diabetes. And I'm just going to say it. They take in money from the pharmaceutical companies, a lot of the money, and so their hands are tied, because what they've established with their companies is, they've got so much people being hired, which is a good thing. People have jobs, that's a very good thing. But they're not, they're not really, and I get it, science has to be a part of this. But I think good wholesome eating, paying attention, looking after yourself, social time, relaxing, enjoyment, having fun, laughing, hobbies, love what you do. If you're not in a job that you like, just know that, well, you can't change it tomorrow. It probably pays the bills, so you can absolutely, work towards doing something you love. But just accept. We all have to accept where we are right now, and accept others for where they are right now, and be here for each other. So there you go. Be here for each other for 2019, whatever that means. Some for more, some for less, doesn't matter. Every little act makes a difference. So Happy New Year again. I look forward to next Monday, live at 5, and every day before then. Take care. Bye for now. Best of health.